How to fix any WP Code plugin error within your website. This is the question that brought you to this video. I have prepared a complete list with step-by-step instructions to correct all the errors on your WordPress website. Quickly and objectively, I will teach you with a complete tutorial how to correct the error you are facing without wasting your time with several useless solutions. If that's what you need, let's get to the content. Here's a very important step that you cannot neglect. Use good website hosting. 90% of the problems we encounter on WordPress sites are always related to the hosting company. In some cases, the PHP version is out of date. In other cases, PHP does not have an extension allowed or features are missing. Therefore, we recommend Hostinger servers so that you can use PHP in your hosting company, regardless of which country in the world you are in. They have multi-language support, and they serve the entire world. They have a specific plan for WordPress with management, and it is one of the best plans for WordPress. We tested several sites within these plans. From the initial plan, you can host from 100 websites, and they are compatible with absolutely everyone. All the plugins we have tested to date, we have not found any plugin that does not work within the Hostinger environment. They also have a system within the panel to check viruses within WordPress installations, make updates within the panel, and check plugin compatibility, which will help you resolve most problems. There's a link in the description, and if you're purchasing an annual plan or longer, use our link to support our channel. One very important thing, as Rochinger has a money-back policy if you don't like the product, you can simply do the following. By hosting from Rochinger, install a WordPress site. Install all the themes and plugins you have on your current website. Check if it will work. If it works, you know the problem is with your website hosting and it's time for you to migrate. All you have to do is bring your website to Hostinger. Even Hostinger does the migration for you free of charge. All you have to do is join one of their plans. I recommend Cloud Startup for sites that need more performance, and call the support team, and they will help you with the migration process. Before making any changes, you must back up your environment. It is very important to have a backup of your website. Even if it has a problem, make a backup of the website to its current state. You can ask your hosting company's support team, or you can hire Hostinger, link in the description, and you can have their automatic backup. Backing up on the Hostinger panel is very simple to do. I'm going to teach here, and almost every hosting company is the same. Within your hosting company's dashboard, you go to Files, and you will have the Backups option. Coming here to the Backups option, I can click on Create New Backup. I come to Select. It warns me that it will overwrite the previous backup. Continue, and it starts creating my backup. I have to wait until this backup is complete, so I can start making the changes that will fix the problems with the plugins and themes within my website. Okay, backup completed. Now you can go to your website, make the necessary changes. If you have a problem, it's very simple to restore the backup. You can come here to restore the website. Select the date of the backup you made. Click on Restore, and it carries out the entire process. This said hosting. If you are using another hosting company, just contact technical support, and they will help you resolve the issue and perform a restoration if necessary. This is the first step to solving problems. In fact, if you have a problem and don't have any new information on the site, you can try restoring old backups to see if it fixes the problem you're getting. Increase PHP memory. This is a step that solves most cases of problems with plugins, especially cases of instability, when the site goes on and off. Let's go. Coming to your hosting company's dashboard, you can click here on Advanced PHP Configuration, and you will land on this screen. You go to PHP Options. you will go down to the option that talks about PHP memory. Here I have it set to 512 megas. I can change it to 1024. Keeping in mind that my plan has 3 gigs. Incredible, 3 gigs of RAM. I can change, for example, to 1024, come down here, save, and this step, after a few seconds, can completely change the performance of your website, including making several plugins that were stopping working due to the use of PHP are available on your website. Excessive memory or not excessive, just the necessary usage. Get them back up and running. So, check with your hosting company if your plan has memory values greater than 1 gigabyte. 1024 gigabytes. Ideally, plans should have more than that because PHP is just one of the parts that will use your hosting's memory. A more advanced way to identify errors in WordPress is to use WP debug. Let's enable this feature within WordPress. In your hosting panel, go to Files, File Manager, and access your hosting's file manager. Access the public HTML folder. Inside the public HTML folder, look for the WP config file. Double-click on it to open the editor, and we'll scroll to the end of the file. Before the last line, we will add 3 lines of code to define the debug. These are 3 lines of code that I just pasted. These lines of code will activate the debug and will save the log file in a folder that I will show you. Let's save the file. To close, now your log will be inside the WP content folder, and a file called debug.log will be created every time WordPress throws an error. I don't have any files in here because my WordPress doesn't have any errors. So that's why I don't have anything in the folder. It's clean. But if my WordPress had any error, the debug.log file would be created here, and I could look inside the log to see what is causing this error. One way to fix problems is also by changing the permissions of the folders where your plugin was installed. In many cases, a person unzips a zip file directly into the WordPress folder where the plugin is located, and this changes the permissions and folder owner, causing critical errors within WordPress. Let's go back to our hosting company's dashboard. I came to Files, File Manager, access our File Manager, our File Manager, go to Public HTML, access WP Content, go to the Plugins folder, and here we find all the plugins installed within WordPress. Note that they have specific folder permissions. This is the folder permission pattern within the web. If your directory is not with these permissions, you can right-click, you can come to Permissions, and change the permissions. Note that the permission is 755. If I check any box, I change the permissions. The default is 755. Check the recursive directories and files option and click Update. Important: if you want to keep the original state of the folder, before making the change, you can right-click, come to Archive, select the file format, and it will create a backup for you with the original state. Here the permission is different, but within this zip file, the permissions remain the same as they are on your screen. A very simple step that can solve many problems is to disable the CDN network if you use it on your WordPress. Some plugins and themes may have problems with the content that is available via CDN. Networks such as Cloudflare, CDN Max, among others, can be temporarily or permanently disabled to resolve issues with your WordPress site. So in our example, I'm going to go to Cloudflare and disable the CDN network. I'll click Edit on my DNS entry and disable the proxy. By clicking Save, I disable the CDN service, and in about 30 to 40 minutes, I can try again to access my website. Deactivating WordPress plugins is also a step that usually solves some problems. It may be that what you have within your environment is a compatibility problem and not a specific problem with the plugin. WordPress is a huge ecosystem, and sometimes some developers develop plugins that conflict with other plugins. The best way to find out if the plugin you want to use conflicts with any other plugin by coming to the WordPress dashboard and deactivating the plugins. Clicking on Deactivate the plugin is simply deactivated. However, this has a small problem. In some cases, you will not be able to open the WordPress dashboard. If your case is a case where WordPress doesn't even open the panel, I'll teach you how to deactivate the plugin in another way. Open your hosting company's panel. Go to Files and File Manager or File Manager. Click on your File Manager, and when you open it, you will have access the HTML public folder. Access the HTML public folder. On some servers, this folder may be named www. Go to WP Contents, the Plugins folder, enter it. And inside the Plugins folder, you will see that you will have folders with the names of the plugins you are using. For example, here I have a plugin called Full Wide Page Templates. What I'm going to do is deactivate this plugin, but not here. If my WordPress wasn't opening, I could just rename by clicking with the right button, going to rename, and I change the name of the folder. I will just add an underline at the end and click on rename. Change the name of the folder, and when I come to WordPress and update, I will see that the plugin has been deactivated. So if this plugin was causing a problem in my WordPress installation, I would have deactivated it, and my WordPress would be working again, thus letting me know that this plugin is a problem. If this plugin has been deactivated, as I did now, and even though WordPress didn't work again, I must continue deactivating the other plugins, renaming the folder, or deactivating them through the panel until WordPress works again. The moment WordPress starts working again, I will know which plugin caused the problem. So I'm going to go back to the folder here and return the plugin folder name to the original. Bring the name of the plugin folder back to the original, removing the underline so that the name of the plugin folder remains as it should be. I update my plugins page, and now I can activate the plugin again. All the others, except the plugin that created the error within my site. This way I will know which of the plugins I have within my environment that generated an error in WordPress. Checking the PHP extensions that your plugins and themes require can help you solve many of the problems as well. Here within the hosting panel, we go to PHP configuration. We go to PHP extension, and we check the extensions that are already natively active, and you cannot deactivate them. And below are several other extensions that you can optionally activate. Most hosting companies do not have this type of extension available, which is why we chose Hostinger as a partner. Let's go. I'll give you an example, and this is just an example. You can use this base for any plugin you use. You go to Google and search for the name of the plugin and the PHP extensions it needs, or read the documentation. So, for example here, Elementor. He has the PHP ZLIB extension as a necessity. He needs this extension active. Coincidentally, it is also an extension required by WordPress. So it's obvious that our site has the extension active, but it's important for you to know that all of your plugins have PHP extensions that they need to work. A plugin can depend on an extension. Another plugin may depend on another. So it's important that you have all necessary extensions active. How do you find this out? Talking to the plugin developer or reading the documentation. Generally, most hosting companies come with all the necessary extensions active. But there may be cases where you have to test to see if your plugin depends on any extension. Additional PHP. Another step is to change the browser you are using. I know this step seems obvious, but in many cases it solves problems. Let's test. Let's go. Let's select the browser we were using previously, copy the URL, and simply paste it into another browser. It can be any browser, and on your computer you certainly have more than one browser. If you are using Windows, it comes by default with Microsoft Edge. If you're on Mac OS, you have Safari. If you're using Linux, it comes standard with Firefox. You can switch between browsers to see if the web page opens. Another important tip is to try to open the same page on your cell phone. Now let's move on to the solution, where we will change Taccess. In many cases, restoring Taccess to the WordPress default resolves most issues. However, it is important to pay attention to the following. If you use a caching plugin within WordPress, you must deactivate the plugin first. If your WordPress isn't even loading, then yes, you can change Taccess first and later disable the cache plugin. Most caching plugins change the WordPress Taccess file. Let's go. I'm going to open my hosting panel again. I'm going to come to the File Manager. Go to the File Manager and look for the current Taccess of my website in public.html. I will look for the Taccess file. It is here. The first thing I should do is create a copy of it. So I go to Copy File, select the current folder I'm in, copy, and it will create another Taccess for me outside of public.html. Another method for you to make a backup is also to simply right-click. Turn Taccess into a zip file, for example, and then you will have your zip in case you need to restore. Okay, let's open Taccess. Notice that my Taccess is completely changed. These changes are due to my Lightspeed cache plugin. It makes changes, but the original WordPress Taccess doesn't look like this. In the official WordPress documentation, we can see the original appearance of Taccess. In an error situation, you can copy the content, paste the new content inside Taccess, and save the file. This will help you test whether your website will work again or not. If the site does not work again, restore the file as it was, and the file does not work again. Let's go to the next step. Another way to fix errors is to deactivate or change the theme that WordPress is currently using. Let's go. If you have access to the panel, you will do it in a very simple way. Appearance, Themes. Select a different theme and click Activate. Thus, the theme will be activated, and this will change the entire interface of the website. By doing this, you can access your website and check if it works again. Okay, if you don't have access to the WordPress panel, you can also do this through the doubles bank. Let's go step by step. The first thing you have to do is open your hosting file manager so we can check what other themes you have installed. Go to publica.html, go to the WP content folder, go to the themes folder. And inside the folder, you will see all the themes. These themes are the default WordPress themes. Okay. Now let's go to your hosting panel and locate your database. Okay, phpMyAdmin. Let's go into phpMyAdmin to be able to modify your database. We are going to look for a WordPress table that is responsible for changing the default WordPress theme. Let's go here to our database. We have the options table, and we're going to look here for the themes table. Let's switch here to page 2. No. And here we find the template and style sheets. Here are the two tables you need to change your WordPress theme. So let's go. let's assume I don't want to use this theme because this theme is causing a problem on my website. I can come here and get the name of another theme, clicking here on Rename, copy the theme name, cancel it. Come here, double-click, and change the theme name. Down here, again, changing the name of the theme. I click off the screen, and that's it. The two lines were swapped and changed. When I go back to my WordPress, I will notice that the theme that is active now is again this theme here. So, by doing this, I changed the active theme, and if the active theme was generating any type of error within my WordPress, I just correct it. Once this is done, I either change the theme of my website or I update the theme that was causing the problem. Changing the PHP version can be one of the important steps in fixing a problem on your WordPress website. Regardless of whether the problem is with a theme or a plugin, the PHP version must be compatible with it. Let's go. Accessing the dashboard of my hosting system, I can go to Advanced, the PHP configuration, and choose the version of PHP I want to use. Each hosting company has a different panel, but they all have the option to change PHP versions. Currently, PHP 7.4 is the most compatible with all WordPress themes and plugins. PHP 8.0 performs well within WordPress, but it still has some incompatibilities with some themes and plugins that the developers haven't updated yet. So, we recommend that you switch to PHP version 7.4. Click Update so that it applies the change. Wait about 3 minutes and try again to access your website, remembering to clear the cache every time you make a change. Time is money. If you need a team to solve problems with your applications, your infrastructure, and your web application, contact us. The link in the description has our calendar open to the public with hours and days that you can select. Check out and receive our exclusive service from a bunch of technology mad people for a client who needs it. Your time is worth a lot to us. If you don't want to, that's okay. Just watch the video until the end, and I'm sure you'll be able to solve your problem. If you want to make money solving WordPress problems, there's a link in the description that will take you to the best training there is. I want you to think about the following. What do you think is most likely? That someone pays you $1,000 for a website that they don't even know if they need? Or that someone who already has a website working and has a problem pays you $1,000 to solve it? Solve problems with tools that already exist. It is a huge and little explored market. You have the opportunity to work on the urgency, the need of businesses that are already active. Click on the link in the description, and I'm sure you'll like it. And come on, guys, if none of the previous steps in this video managed to solve your problem, I'm going to teach you now how to contact WPCode support without too many problems via the WordPress.org website. I'll leave the link to this site directly in the first pinned comment, so you can access this page. I'm here right now. Okay, let's go. You will click on the support page. We will click on Create a Topic, and now we will send a support ticket to this company, this plugin of ours. Okay. First, you will write here a very simple title to exemplify what we are going to talk about in this ticket. Let's go put the link to your website, and now comes the golden key. Special tip that we separated for this video here, so you can be able to get in touch and resolve this problem as quickly as possible. You will put this here, this little part ready that we have already left for you, so that you can just fill in your data. And this already has everything that the programmer who will give you need help to be able to understand what your problem is, how your environment is working, and to be able to help you resolve your error as soon as possible. Okay, let's go. First thing you will enter is your hosting company. You will enter the version of your PHP, the version of your WordPress, and the version of their plugin that you are using. Okay, remembering that all information here should not be copied. It should be placed from your environment. Okay, your error could be very different from anything I'm using here. As an example, whenever you have more plugins installed within your website, you should also make it clear to the developer so he can understand everything that is working within your environment and be able to help you solve it. Since other plugins can cause some type of error in the plugin you are using now, which in this case is WP Code, that's it finally. I want you to separate if you have any type of caching plugin and make it clear whether it is active or not at the time you are receiving this error, okay? And as in the previous steps, I taught you how to disable WP debug. If you have received any type of message there, I strongly recommend that you include it here in our messages that you will send to support, because this can help the developer. It will help you understand what your problem is. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a review. Finally, we're going to add 2 simple little sentences here explaining what you're trying to do, how it's actually supposed to work, and how it's working for you, and what it's the error that is being returned, okay? From there, you just need to put a few little tags here to give guidance to their team to understand what this ticket we are sending them is about, okay? At the very end here, we will have 3 options for you to select. I don't think you'll need the first 2, but it's always worth reading them and seeing if it really makes sense with what you wrote here in the topic where you select one of the options. But, in principle, I believe you won't need to mark any of them. I recommend that you check the last option here so that you can receive a notification in your email when the ticket you are sending now is answered by their team, okay? But before we send this ticket here and finalize our process of the last step here to resolve your error, I strongly recommend that this entire message that I showed you here, this entire process be done in English, because English is used worldwide and is also the most used language on the web. This will certainly facilitate and speed up the process for the support team to respond and help you resolve your problem. So write everything in English so you can resolve your error as quickly as possible. And that's it. You can now send the ticket here following the basis that I just taught you here in this video, and you will definitely solve your problem as soon as possible. And that's it. The video ends here. Thanks, bye.